Welcome back with a smiling face. Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Sorrow of Omega's Broken Heart. Episode 12. Chapter 151. Her unexpected move made Lucas freeze. Meanwhile, Alisa was unable to stop herself from tightening her hold on his torso. While she cried into his chest, she was unable to utter a single word. The fact that he did not hug her back left her in pieces, yet it did not make her release the hold. She did not care if he hated her more because of what she had done. She was well aware that the moment she left the room, her life would return to its previous state of misery. But in that room, no one was there except them. She wanted to tell him how she had been feeling without him all these days. Even though he had decided on punishments for her, she would do her best to accept them in her heart. She decided to leave everyone. She decided to break all the promises she made to her parents. She decided to live alone since she would not get this man back into her life. He was not hers anymore. He was someone else's man. Thinking about it eating her alive. She felt his hands grab her shoulders. He said, "Move." She shook her head. Her nose brushed against his chest. She sobbed hard, and her quivered lips touched his bare chest as she did so. "I am sorry for everything. I should not have been such a weakling." The hold that Lucas had on her shoulders began to loosen. He took his hands off of her shoulders and stood there in complete silence. She was unaware of his response. His eyes turned glowing orange. His face became furious. But he remained silent. "Believe me. I have never given your place to him for once. It was only a relationship of compromise. I tried my best to compose myself. I always thought about you every single day. I never took the necklace you gave me off my neck. It was your last trace for me. I could never forget you. You were always in my heart." She paused, and she sobbed. She tried to inhale hard, as she could not take a breath. When she calmed herself, she began speaking once more as if it were her final opportunity to be free of her guilt, as if the only regret she would have in her life would be if she were unable to say what was on her mind right now. "I know it's too late. I know you have moved on. I swear, I have no intention to break your relationship with Elora. She is a nice woman. She will make you happy in your life. And yes, you are right. She is better than me. I agree with you. You can live your life with her. But I beg you not to hate me. I can't see hatred for me in your eyes. I have been preparing myself to face you for a long time. But in front of you, I always lost myself. She was at a complete loss for what to say. She had let out all that she had kept bottled up inside her for a very long time. She inhaled deeply to get a better whiff of his scent. Inside of her, she could feel her wolf howling for him. His scent had calmed her so much that it seemed to her that she had not been alive for so long. She remained there while hugging him for a long time. They were so close to each other that it mesmerized her mind. After a very long time, she got a chance to come this close to him. She felt that she was dreaming. In her dream, she could tell him what her feelings were toward him. She did not want to wake up from this dream. After what seemed like an eternity, she eventually raised her head to look at him while carefully removing her hands from his body. His eyes were black. They were so dark that she swallowed her breath. He was not looking at her but rather in the direction of the door. "Lucas. Leave." His chilly tone caused her heart to freeze. She slowly moved away while looking at him. She nodded her head. "Yet. I should leave." She mumbled and turned around. She walked to the door. This time, he did not stop her, and she left his room. Though his response was clear that he would never forgive her, she felt light in her heart. The heaviness that had been in her chest completely vanished. She was aware that he had moved on, and she promised herself that she would never interfere with his new relationship. But at least she could tell him all the truth. She did not want to betray him, it was only him who was always in her heart. She wiped her eyes while looking at the empty hallway. She had no idea about the time. She proceeded to the office room in order to retrieve her phone, which she had forgotten sitting on the coffee table. She then headed downstairs. She met maids on the way. Young mistress, Alpha had just returned to the pack house a few minutes ago. The maid informed her since she asked her about him when she entered the pack house today. Okay. Alisa replied and left the pack house. She was about to call her father's driver, but Logan's driver was already outside. So he opened the back door for her, as he thought she would leave with Logan's car. Instead of wasting time by calling her father's driver, Alisa went ahead and climbed into Logan's car. It was all she could think about to go back to her home right now. During the whole ride, she only thought about Lucas. He told her to leave. He did not want to forgive her. She believed that he would never forget her. I will accept your every punishment, I promise. I deserve it. I gave you so much pain. I am sorry. She thought and closed her eyes. After the car came to a stop, she thanked Logan's driver and exited the vehicle. When she opened the main door of her house, she noticed that her parents were sitting on the couch. Looking at her, they stood up. We were waiting for you. Joey, her mother said to her. Why? She asked while clearing her throat, and her voice sounded creaky as a result of her having cried too much. You were not picking up our calls. Where were you? Glenn, her father, asked her. She gave him a bitter smile and replied, I was in the pack house, just like where you wanted me to be. I really hope that the sight of myself in this state brings you a lot of joy. You made life extremely wonderful, and I am appreciating it to the fullest every single day, Dad. She responded with a sarcastic remark and then headed upstairs. Both Joey and Glenn gazed at her until she went to her room and slammed the door loudly. Joey looked at her husband, whose pain was clearly visible in his eyes. She put her hand on his shoulder and said, How long will you let her think that you are her life destroyer? Glenn looked away and shook his head. If I had told her anything, she would have only listened to herself. Joey hugged her husband as she wiped tears from her eyes. When are you going to tell her the real reason why you are doing this, Glenn? When will you tell her the truth? Elora had just come back to the pack house with Tisa. She had no idea why Tisa suddenly wanted to go outside today. She took her to the shopping mall and bought so many things as if it were her wedding. When she told Tisa that she wanted to go back, Tisa told her that she desired to have dinner outside. She took her far away to a grand restaurant, and they had dinner there. So Elora was super tired. She went to her bedroom and changed her clothes into a nightgown. The designers of this pack made quite an impression on her. They actually know what would look best on a woman like her. She was dressed in a nightgown that was all black. She brushed her wrists together while applying perfume to them first. Then she rubbed them on the back of her neck. She gave herself a wry grin as she observed her reflection in the mirror. You can do it. Let's try once again, she told herself. After leaving her room, she discovered that the hallway was rather silent. She made her way to the last room around the corner. The place where she was staying was meant to be the room that she and Lucas shared. However, he elected to stay alone in the last room. The nature of his relationship with her was not at all what other people believed it to be. Even though she tried more than a few times to lure him, he never ended up spending nights with her. She stood in front of the door and reached for the doorknob. But she froze when the sound of breaking things came to her ears. She did not waste any time and opened the door right away. As soon as she saw the state the room was in, she was taken aback. Things that were broken were dispersed all over the floor in different places. Lucas. After spotting him grasping a vase with the intention of shattering it on the ground, she rushed to him. She grabbed his arm and looked at him with shocked eyes. What happened to you? He turned his head toward her. When she looked up, she was met with a pair of the fiercest orange eyes. She gasped, and her hands loosened around his arm. She lowered her head in submission and said, "Alpha, why are you here?" Lucas asked her, and he smashed the vase on the floor. Elora flinched, and her legs trembled as the color of her eyes changed to green. "I just came to," she bit her lips while looking down at the floor. Lucas's eyes scrutinized her dress, and his eyes narrowed. "How many times have I told you to stop doing all of this?" She raised her head to gaze at him and questioned, "How long are you going to be like this?" "Forever," he replied, glaring at her. "I also have some wishes. I also want you to be with me, standing by my side. Why is it that you can't just be mine? You said you would make me your Luna. Then why can't you just accept me in my body? It's all yours," she said while sobbing. Lucas drew forward toward her and placed his hand on her jaw. She whimpered in pain but kept her gaze fixed on his. "Don't try to do what you don't want to do. Your body is valuable, so take care to protect it. Don't try to use it in the same way as the women who sell their bodies on the market for the purpose of gaining money or powers." She closed her eyes and slowly removed his hand from her jaw. She knew what he was talking about. But she had no choice but to accept what was happening. "I am sorry. I was so lost in making you mine that I forgot I have a value." Lucas looked away from her and said, "Get out. Leave me alone. Someone has already made me quite angry. I want to destroy the whole pack right now. I am coming to the edge of my patience." Elora stepped backward slowly. She felt something pierce her right foot, and as a response, she clenched her fists tightly. She exited the room without making a sound or letting Lucas know about the pain. When she came out of his room, she looked at her legs, and she saw blood coming out of her leg. She could feel that there was a shard of glass embedded in the skin there. To ease the pain, she would need to remove it as quickly as possible. She wanted to go to Tisa's room, but it was already late at night. She did not want to knock and disturb a couple at this hour. She gradually moved out of the way and made an effort to head toward the staircase to ask the maid if they could help her. But the sight of Logan emerging from his bedroom caused her to make a momentary stop. After tearing her gaze away from him, she resumed her stroll. "What happened to you? Why are you limping?" he asked as he observed her bare legs stepping slowly. "Nothing," she replied. When he noticed that she had blood on her leg, his eyes widened in surprise. "Hey! What exactly happened with your leg? It's bleeding," he said and hurriedly came to her. She tried to ignore his presence and stepped forward. Logan grabbed her arm, and she mistakenly put all of her weight on her injured leg. "Ah!" She moaned in pain and shut her eyes. Logan was stunned. "I think your wound is not a simple one. Let me check." He remarked this while bending his head to cast a glimpse at her leg. But she pushed him and said, "You don't have to care about me. Just take care of your fiancé." Logan's anger was stoked by her statements. He took a rigid stance and looked at her. Don't include her in our conversation. Why shouldn't I? I am sure that she said or did something to my fiancé that caused him to become so angry and destroy things. He frowned when he heard her. You are so arrogant about your fiancé, right? But he is no saint. He retorted back. At least he is not like you, who always lets his mate get in the middle of the way, who doesn't have the ability to accept his mate in any way. Logan froze at her reply. His brows shot up when he saw her hostile look toward him. You know about it. About what? About how you rejected your ex-mate? She asked. No. Don't change the topic. You know what I am saying. You know about it, don't you? But how? You are a hybrid. She interrupted and chuckled while shaking her head. You thought I was a hybrid. So since I am a witch, I won't feel anything. Therefore, because I am a witch, I won't feel a thing. But you seem to have forgotten, Alpha Logan, that I am a wolf as well. That means you can also feel that. He could not help but let out a whisper. She smirked at him bitterly and replied, Of course I can feel the bond, mate. Logan was shocked when he heard Elora. He could not believe his ears. The fact that hybrids had witch blood, which was distinct from werewolf blood, typically prevented them from experiencing any kind of mate bond. They were unable to experience anything that may be regarded as a connection to their mates. In point of fact, hybrids did not have a mate the vast majority of the time. It was because of this that no member of the Black Moon Pack ever questioned it in any way. Because they thought Alpha Lucas made his choice by himself since a hybrid could not have a mate. I thought. He paused and stared at her. She laughed as if mocking him while saying, You thought you could ignore your mate this time as well. Exactly the same as you did it the first time. You were even happy that I could not feel anything, so you would not have to face rejection once again. You were happy to get your ex-mate back, and after marrying her, you would mark her so that the new mate bond would be removed. Something moved inside Logan after hearing her words. He was fixated on her. He was completely oblivious to her feelings about it. However, when he realized that she could also feel, his wolf was somehow angry at him. He felt that he had never heard his wolf. He never once bothered to find out what it was that he desired. He always did what he wanted. In front of him stood a woman who was his second chance mate. From the moment she entered the pack house, he knew that she was his mate. That day, when Alisa was shocked to look at Lucas as the head alpha, he was no less surprised. But what shocked him more was the woman beside him. During the past 2 years, he put a lot of effort into becoming calm so that he could be with Alisa. He even felt that he loved her daringly. But looking at this woman, he felt strange. Something like that had never occurred to him in regard to Alisa. He was well aware that the mate bond was the sole thing responsible for his current state of mind. Was his fate making fun of him? Why could his mate not find anyone but his brother? Why did she come into his life 1 month before his long-awaited marriage with Alisa? Why did his life not allow him to live peacefully for once? Elora could see how lost he was. She averted her gaze and started to walk ahead. Where are you going? Logan asked her. None of your business. He held her hand to stop her. There is blood coming from your leg. You can't get down that way. She jerked her hand free from his grasp and replied angrily, Stay away from me. When she was about to take the first step up the staircase, he wrapped his arms around her waist and thighs and lifted her up. What the hell? Stop shouting. I am just trying to help you. He said that and turned around. He walked to his room while holding her in his arms. Put me down. I don't want your help. He did not listen to her and opened his room's door. After stepping inside, he used his leg to hold the door shut behind him. I will call Lucas here by using the mind link. He will kill you if he gets to know what you are doing with me. It won't take him more than a few moments to put an end to you. His steps halted as he looked at her. His piercing gaze fixed on her, giving her a feeling of nervousness for some reason. However, she was not a weak woman, she glared at him back. He then positioned her on the bed. She sat up straight and looked at him. He got down on one knee and lowered his head to speak to her at eye level. I am more familiar with him than you are. So stop teasing me by talking about him all the time. Her stomach churned as she realized how near they were. With the exception of Lucas, she had never been this close to any other man. Though it was always her who tried to get close to Lucas. She wondered why Lucas never touched her. 2 years ago, people used to talk about him using new women every night, but he did not touch her when she tried it so many times. Perhaps she was not charming enough for him. Before she came here, she had a constant feeling of jealousy toward Alisa. Because she was the only woman Lucas wanted to get close with. After breaking up with her, he never touched another woman. Elora always thought that Alisa might have a more formidable witch as she attempted to win Lucas's attention. But then again, who could move Alpha Lucas? No magic could be used on him. No one had the ability to cast any spells on him. He was the one who gave all the witches his shadow. When Logan noticed that she was not replying, he moved away and walked to his closet. Her eyes followed his every movement. He took out a transparent box and came to the bed. She was able to make out a variety of ointments, creams, tweezers, and scissors within the box. Everything was present. When she knew what he would do, a sigh escaped her mouth. When she noticed that he was sitting next to her, she said to him, "Give it to me." He did not listen to her and grabbed her ankle. He pulled her leg and placed it on his lap. She gasped at his sudden pull. It made her nightgown a little mess. Her thighs became visible to him. She tried to adjust her dress while saying, "How dare you pull my leg like that? You are such a shameless man. Do you even know that you are touching a woman who belongs to someone else?" His focus shifted to the nightgown she was wearing. The robe was the only thing that was concealing her flawless body and cleavage from his eyes. "Where did you get hurt from?" he inquired as he turned his gaze away from her body. After opening the box, he immediately began cleaning her blood off of a cotton ball. She hissed and tried to move her leg while replying, "Lucas's bedroom." His hand froze, and he lifted his head to look at her. "Why on earth did you go to his room at this hour while wearing these clothes?" he asked and looked at her gown again. She frowned at him. "Excuse me? He is my man. I can go to him anytime I want. And dress? Dress doesn't matter. I can wear any dress he wants. He can see me in any attire he loves. I am ready for him." When the cotton ball was put against her wound, she let out a painful groan. "A few pieces are still half inside. Stop talking nonsense, or I will push them completely inside." Her eyes widened as soon as she heard his warning. She did not speak up and instead allowed him to continue with what he was doing. He used tweezers to remove the shattered bits of glass from her foot. After that, he took his time and gently spread an ointment on the wound using his fingertips. It gave her a titillating feeling. She attempted to move her leg, but he had a firm grip on her ankle and prevented her from doing so. He looked at her and said, "If you don't feel good with the wound, you can have another option to heal it." "What?" she asked with confusion. He smirked at her perplexed reaction. He looked at her leg and bandaged it slowly, then said, "You know mates can heal their mate's wound if he is an alpha." He took a moment to pause and stare at her before continuing, "But you know the process of healing. So if you want, I can know." Almost instantly, she removed her leg from his lap and set it down on the ground below. She jumped to her feet and yelled in a hurried voice, "Don't even think of these types of things. Heal your Alisa, not me. I have my Lucas. He has the power to cure me at any time." Saying that, she rushed out of the room, though she was in pain. Logan did not know what had happened to him so suddenly that he was even ready to heal her. He stared at the door and sighed. Why is every woman after Lucas? He always says that I took over his possessions. What about the women in my life? He holds my ex-mate's heart at the same time he is going to marry my second mate. The next day, Alisa did not go to school. Instead, she decided to go to the pack house. She did a lot of thinking last night. She made the decision to talk with Alpha Neil. Only he had the power to call off the wedding. She was aware that their reputation would be ruined in the eyes of other alphas because it was too late to do anything about it. On the other hand, she made the decision to accept the punishment for the unexpected cancellation of the wedding. She would tell him the truth. She would tell him that it was always her parents' decision. She was never happy with it. After getting ready, Alisa exited her bedroom. When she got downstairs, she saw her mother. Her father was not at home. "You don't look like going to school," her mother said as she took a quick look at her daughter's attire. She was dressed in a long floral dress. "Yeah, I am going to the pack house." "Okay." Alisa gave a slight nod of her head and started moving in the direction of the door. "Alisa!" her mother called her from behind. She stopped moving and then turned around. "Yes. My dear. Don't behave rudely with your dad. You know how much he loves you. Your behavior is hurting him. We never raised you like that." Alisa maintained her gaze on her for a while. She struggled with her mind within herself about whether or not she should argue with her about it. "Mom, you two have already ruined my life. I know you are my parents. But this does not imply that the two of you bought me. I am aware of the loving and attentive way in which both of you raised me. I tried to amend them by choosing you. But I feel like I can't repay you at all. I am worn out. I just can't carry on like this any longer." Her mother's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" "Mom, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I will talk to the man among us who holds the position of authority." Her mother sprinted to her and seized hold of her hand. "Don't do anything childish. Let your father come back home. We will talk about it, okay?" She removed her mother's hand from hers and replied, "Mom, please. We can't talk about it anymore." She exited the house and began walking in the direction of the street. Because her father had left earlier with his car, she would need to take a cab. When she arrived at the pack house, she realized that Alpha Neil and Ella were not at the pack house. She saw Tisa and Beta Max sitting on the couch. They were having a good time. When Tisa noticed her, she stood up and rushed to her. She hugged her and said, "Good morning." Alisa gave her friend a pat on the back before greeting her with morning. Beta Max cast a quick glance in Alisa's direction before rising to his feet. "I am going to talk with Owen," he said to Tisa and headed to the staircase. Tisa held Alisa's hand and made her sit on the couch. "Did you get a chance to talk to him yesterday?" Tisa asked her. Alisa sighed and felt sad. She knew that it had been her best friend's idea to take Elora away from the pack house in order for her to have a conversation with Lucas. "You had promised me not to tell others about it," Tess. But you broke your promise. Alisa, I said I wouldn't tell others. But Lucas is not among those people. He is the main person who needs to know the truth. I could not do anything when you were in pain. But now that I know the truth, I can't keep quiet. Alisa rubbed her hands since Tisa was still holding her hands. You said you are now friends with Elora, right? Tisa looked away from her when she heard the question. Then be a good friend. Don't support anything that can break your friend's relationship. Lucas and I broke up 2 years ago. It is impossible for me to get my old Lucas back. But now he has a loyal woman who can make him happy. I am happy with it. But what about you? You are not happy with your life, Alisa. You still love him. I do. I won't lie to you. Yes, I do. And he knows that too. All thanks to you, Tess. You helped me remove the burden that had been resting on my chest. I opened up to him about everything last night. I could be completely honest with him about everything. What did he say? Tisa asked nervously. Alisa smiled at her expression. He is not a fool. He knew that from the start. He hates me because I don't deserve him. I betrayed him by being so weak. I should have stood up on my feet and chosen him. Tisa let out a heavy sigh, and she had a sense of defeat. She tried her best to resolve their matter, but she failed. I don't know what to say. Tisa muttered. What you did was enough. I am grateful to you, Tess. Alisa said and hugged her. The sight of the staircase caught Alisa's attention. She noticed that Elora was stepping on the first step. Her movements were quite shaky. She was on the verge of falling when someone grabbed her around the waist and prevented her from falling down. Alisa and Tisa broke the hug and stood up in surprise. They were worried for Elora and ignored the man who was holding her waist. Be careful. While he had a firm grip on Elora, the man spoke. Elora gave him a look before pushing his hands away. I will be careful. You don't have to be concerned for me, Alpha Logan. Elora's response was delivered through clenched teeth. Okay. As you wish. Logan said and immediately released her. Elora's eyes widened as she almost fell, however, once again, Logan held her. This time, he grasped her wrist and pulled her closer. He drew her close to him and said, It appears that you have made a practice of accepting my help. But you are an ungrateful woman. You don't know how to thank others. Alisa stared at them from downstairs. She furrowed her brows as she observed Logan's behavior towards Elora. For a few days, she could see his changing behavior, which she tried to understand. Elora did not argue with him and allowed him to assist her in descending the steps. When they reached the bottom of the steps, Logan took his hand off of hers. He glanced at Alisa and asked, When did you come? A few minutes ago. Alisa replied and looked at Elora. She was about to ask her if she was okay when her attention was drawn to the bandage that was covering her foot. But before then, Elora was interrupted by a phone call. She gave her phone a quick peek. Her facial expression started to show signs of nervousness. Excuse me, she said to them and walked slowly to the garden. Alisa stared at her back and thought, whose call made her so nervous? Why does she need to go outside to talk with the person? I was just helping her. Logan's voice reached Alisa's ears. She turned to him and nodded at him. Yeah, I saw that. She glanced at Tisa, who was staring at Logan. She did not know what the reason behind her deep gaze was. Logan held Alisa's hand and said, Let's go to the office. I want to know the problem you were talking about yesterday on the phone. Alisa headed upstairs with him. She turned to Tisa and said, "I will talk to you later." "Sure." Logan pulled her with him to the way of his office. But when they were heading there, they met Lucas, who was coming out of the hallway. They paused while looking at him. Lucas glanced at Logan's hand that was grabbing Alisa's wrist. Alisa tried to break free when she noticed Lucas looking at her hand. However, Logan did not release her hand. "Alpha Lucas, good morning," Logan said to him. Lucas looked at him, ignoring Alisa totally. "Morning," he responded and passed them. Alisa turned her head toward him. He did not look back at her for once. She lowered her head as she recalled last night. She remembered how much he hated her. When Lucas was nowhere in their sight, Logan released her wrist and grabbed her shoulder. It caused her to turn her attention to him. "How long?" he asked. "What? How long will you keep loving him like this?" Alisa looked away from him, avoided the question, and asked, "Why don't you just step back from the marriage? And then what? Will you go to him?" She shook her head. "No way. I won't disturb his life. Elora loves him. And him? Does he love her?" His question froze her. But she knew the answer. She heard how much he cared about Elora. She had even seen it in the art gallery. Yet, he also loves her. They are made for each other. Rubbish. He muttered and let go of her shoulder. She frowned at him. "What do you mean by it? They look so good together. No one can make Elora happier than him. And I think Elora is perfect for him. She will make him happy as well." Logan glared at her as if he did not like her words at all. "Stop overthinking," he said and turned to head to his office. "What's wrong with him?" she whispered to herself while following him behind. Logan reached his office and opened his drawers to take out important files. Alisa sat in the opposite chair and showed him a few problems in management. "I think the East Flow pack is creating some problems. They don't look like they are entering into any alliances. Have you seen their pack business? They are avoiding our every deal and going for our rival packs." Alisa stood up and pointed her finger at a few red circles that she had marked yesterday. Logan stared at the problems on the papers. "Do you think they have bad intentions for our pack?" "I don't know. But wasn't it the head alpha of the East Flow pack who attacked you? You almost died to save me." She paused when she recalled that accident. He actually saved her that day. Because of her, he did not shift or tried to fight back. "It's okay. We don't have to recall everything again." Alisa took a deep breath and sat on the chair. She did not forget his help. He saved her a few years ago as well, when she was just a teenager. Her father had told her once that he and Alpha Neil had decided to tie the knot that night. "Though I know I am always being rude to you, I never forgot how you saved me," she mumbled. Logan smiled at her. She glanced at him and could see regret reflected in his eyes once again. "If I get the chance again, I will save you no matter who is in front of me." She lowered her head and shook her head. "I don't deserve your love, Logan. I don't deserve your brother either. I should live alone. I am a weak and cowardly woman. I should have settled everything from the beginning. I should not have come into the two brothers' lives." Logan stood up from his chair and walked toward her. He bent down and cupped her cheeks. "Even if I have to leave my happiness, I will protect you from every danger. You deserve everything. I should say sorry to you. Everything that is happening is not your fault. It's just..." He paused and let go of her cheeks. "It's just what?" she asked and looked at him. "Nothing." Just think that it was our fate that tangled all of us together. We are just pawns of fate. Alisa got on her feet and replied, I can't let my fate play with me anymore. I will break the wedding and let myself free from all kinds of complicated relationships. Logan's eyebrows shot up. He narrowed his eyes. What are you saying? Please, Logan. This time, don't stop me. You said you loved me. If you ever loved me for once, then support me and let me go. Logan was caught off guard. He shook his head. You can't go to him. I won't. He has his woman. I will leave this pack and go abroad. Maybe there I will start a new life. Just please support me this one last time. Logan stared at her for a while, as if he had no words left. Alisa felt mad at him. She yelled, Why can't you understand? We can't be happy with each other. If you won't help me, then don't. I will talk to your father when he returns. He will surely help me. Logan did not respond to her. He lowered his head, which made Alisa realize that he would never let her break the marriage. She left his office angrily while slamming the door behind her. Logan walked to his chair and sat down. He pressed his hands on his forehead and muttered, You said that if I ever loved you, I would support you. But because I loved you, I made this choice even though I knew it would hurt you. I can't let you go, Alisa. Alisa had breakfast with Tisa. They talked to each other for a while. She told Tisa that she would talk to Alpha Neil. Tisa said that it would be better for her to break it as soon as possible since their wedding date was in the next month. As soon as Elora returned from her conversation with another person, she looked mad. When Tisa asked her who she was talking with, she replied that it was just a friend. As soon as Elora returned from her conversation with another person, she found her in a state of distress. Elora had always been a confident woman, but in this moment, she appeared lost. Alisa waited for Alpha Neil to come back to the pack house. She even asked Wade about him and Ella. Wade informed her that they were already on their way. Alpha Neil and Ella made their way back to the pack home when the clock struck noon. Alisa and Tisa left Tisa's room and went to the living room. Tisa went there not to say anything but only to support Alisa when she talked. Nevertheless, when Alisa looked at Alpha Neil and Ella, she couldn't help but hold her breath. It did not appear as though either of them were in the mood for conversation. They looked upset. She looked at Ella and asked, How is your friend? Ella shook her head and replied, Doctors said that she has no chance to live long. She has a few days left of her life, she will die anytime, leaving her family behind. Alisa walked over to Ella and gave her a hug when she saw how broken she was for her dear friend. Alisa was at a complete loss for words. To console her, she caressed her back. Alpha Neil went in the direction of his room. Alisa gave him a glance but did not attempt to stop him. She turned her head to glance at Ella and then inquired, Have you eaten your lunch yet? No. Then I am going to tell the maids to serve it on the table. I don't have an appetite, dear. No, you have to eat. Otherwise, you will get sick. Alisa stated while looking at the maids, and then she gave them the order to quickly start serving lunch. The maids bowed to her and rushed to the kitchen. Ella took both of Alisa's hands in hers as she spoke. I am fortunate to have you as my daughter-in-law. People have the misconception that a daughter-in-law can never be a daughter. But they are wrong. The reason for this is that they do not have a daughter-in-law as wonderful as you. Alisa stared at Ella. Her expression conveyed a lot of love and concern for her. She wondered if she would feel sad if she got to know about her thoughts of breaking the marriage. She did not respond to her words and smiled at him. Please go and clean yourself up. We will meet in the dining room. Ella nodded her head. She turned her head and paused when she noticed Elora standing some distance away. Elora looked away from them and was about to leave the living room, but Ella stopped her. Elora, come here, dear. After turning her head, Alisa could see Elora coming closer to them. She came to a halt in front of them and said to Ella, "Yes. I know our relationship with Lucas is not good. He doesn't want to connect with us in any way. However, he has no way of denying the fact that he is our son. That makes you my daughter-in-law as well." Ella stated this as she moved her hand above Elora's head and then placed it there. Elora's brows shot up in surprise. That was an unexpected turn of events. "I hope you will have all of your happiness with my son. We love Alisa very much because, from her childhood, we saw her brought up in front of us. She is like our own daughter." Alisa lowered her head and kept listening to the conversation quietly. Ella continued, "But it doesn't mean we don't like you. We met at the wrong time. We have always wanted our son to grow up to be a decent person. That's why his relationship with his father is not so good. But he never revealed the confident side of himself to us either. Perhaps he is keeping something in his heart for all of us. But I want you to stand by his side in every situation. He will never tell us if he feels anything. But since he chose you as his Luna, he may really care for you. Maybe he has given you the place in his heart that we could not grab. So please, my dear, be the best Luna and always support him." Alisa tightened her fists as she heard Ella's words toward Elora. Her eyes turned glossy. She cleared her throat and said, "Excuse me." She left for the kitchen while wiping the corner of her eye. Meanwhile, Elora's eyes kept glancing at Alisa all the time. She looked at Ella and nodded at her. "No matter what happens, I will stand by his side. He is my fate maker. My life belongs to your son. So don't worry." Ella was stunned by her words. Her remarks were just too deep for anyone to comprehend. But she gave her a warm grin and said, "Long live, and may you be happy in your life with my son." It was a blessing for her. But little did she know that the fates of the two women to whom she had just bestowed a blessing were intertwined with her other two sons. When the maids had finished setting the table for lunch, they went to inform everyone to come for lunch. Everyone entered the dining room and took a seat. Alpha Neil sat a few seats away from the head seat as he let it empty for Lucas. Alisa sat down quietly as she waited for a window of opportunity to speak with Alpha Neil. At the dinner table, she was unable to engage in conversation with him. Before she could go back home, she had to stop and have a conversation with him first. Logan eventually joined them, and then Lucas entered the room with his officials. Everyone started to have lunch. The dining room was quiet, only the sounds of cutlery could be heard. Lucas looked at Logan and broke the silence by saying, "It's been a while since I came here with my people. You really did great in hospitality, but I can't stay here any longer." Everyone paused eating and turned their heads at Lucas. Lucas ignored others and announced, "I am leaving your pack tomorrow night." "Tomorrow night?" Logan asked and stared at Lucas. Everyone was stunned by his decision. "Why tomorrow?" Ella spoke out with a shocking tone. Lucas did not turn to face her but nevertheless answered the question she asked. "Maybe you did not count the days, I told you all that I would be here only for a week." Everyone had almost completely lost track of the time. They were unable to comprehend how a week had already gone by in front of their very eyes. Alisa fixed her gaze on Lucas. Her insides were filled with resentment. She felt bitter in her heart. Hearing about his leaving, her heart clenched inside. She knew one day he would leave, but seeing him after a long time, she did not want to let go of him once again. For once, she wanted to be selfish and wanted him to stay here in front of her eyes. At least she could see him. Lucas, you can stay for a few weeks. You can leave after attending your brother's wedding. Alpha Neil said. His voice was calm. His tone was one that suggested he was making a request. Our pack can't function without our alpha. For an extended period of time, we cannot place our faith in sub-alphas. Who knows when they may begin to think highly of themselves and start to plot against their ruler. Gamma Colin spoke out while eating. That means he can't stay but come back later, right? No. It's Alpha's choice. Only if he wants, he will. Gamma Colin replied to Alpha Neil mockingly while eating. Alisa sent a glare in Colin's direction. Who is he? His Alpha's personal assistant? How can he talk like that to an elder? She thought. Unexpectedly, Colin's eyes caught her gaze. He regarded her with a raised brow. Almost instantly, she turned her gaze away from him. The way Colin spoke did not sit well with Logan. He questioned Lucas, what about the alliance? Lucas never stopped eating, despite the fact that other people were having discussions all around him. But he paused when he heard about the alliance. He placed the fork and knife on the plate and asked, "Did I ever promise any kind of alliance? Because I can't remember it. But I sent those invitations for your alliances. We don't need any alliances from him, my son." Alpha Neil interrupted Logan. Lucas cast his gaze upon Alpha Neil. Alpha Neil gave him a warm grin and said, "Thanks for coming to visit our pack, Alpha Lucas. It's nice to meet you. Allow us to throw a party in honor of your departure." Lucas could not help but chuckle. "I see. You are not a fool, Alpha Neil. By throwing a party, you will let other alphas know how long I have been here in your pack. If they believe that I am on your side, they will absolutely refrain from attacking you. They will keep a safe distance from your pack." Alpha Neil's face turned pale. Ella shook her head and said, "Lucas, why are you saying this? Don't doubt your father's intention. It's a respect that he wants to show towards you." Lucas rolled his eyes and stood up. "Let's see how much respect he can show me. I am okay with attending the party before leaving." Saying that, Lucas left the dining room. But his officials did not leave. They kept eating as if nothing had happened. Ella looked surprised, as if Lucas had not informed her about leaving. She raised her head, and her eyes fell on Logan, who was gazing at her. She ignored his eyes and got to her feet. "Excuse me. I am done eating." She left the dining room. Everyone knew that she would follow Lucas. "Wade, be sure you invite everyone and arrange everything in the best way. It will be a grand party. He should not think that we have any bad intentions towards him." Logan told his beta while gazing at Lucas's officials. Alisa lost her appetite. Tisa looked at her with sad eyes. Alisa glanced at Alpha Neil and said, "Uncle, I have something to talk about with you." "What is it, Alisa?" "It's important. If you have free time after lunch, then we can talk." "No." Logan cut her off. She glared at him. He shook his head while warning her not to say anything. "You are the soon-to-be Luna of this pack. I need your help. You can talk to Dad anytime later. So after lunch, follow me. Logan is right. He needs you more. We can talk later, dear." Alpha Neil said to her. Alisa bit her lip and nodded her head. Once again, Logan stopped her. After leaving the dining room, Ella proceeded towards the stairs. But she halted when she heard the ringing of her phone. She clenched her hand into a fist as she viewed the display on her phone. She turned her head and noticed that there was nobody else there. Therefore, she received the phone call. "Why did you call me? Are you doing what I said to you?" Elora closed her eyes and sighed. "I beg you, don't bother calling me. I would rather not engage in conversation with you. I am just done with you. Don't try to lose your track. I know how to control you." Elora cut the call without replying. She felt tears glistening in her eyes. She wiped her eyes and rushed upstairs to her room. She saw Lucas standing outside her room. She stopped and looked at him. He frowned at her while puffing on the cigarette that he was holding between his fingers. "Why are you crying?" he asked while observing her face. She shook her head with fear in her face. "Nothing." He approached her and lightly gripped her jaw with the hand that was holding the cigarette. While he was tilting her face to the left and right, she closed her eyes. "Does my hybrid start to hide things from me?" Her eyes flung open. "No," she mumbled while looking into his orange eyes. "Don't you want to leave?" "I do." He acknowledged her with a nod and then moved in close to whisper in her ear. "By any chance, do you find yourself falling for your mate?" Elora's eyes widened. She felt a shiver in her whole body. She did not believe what Lucas was saying. As she shook her head, a gleam emanated from her eyes. "Absolutely not, Alpha. I just can't let myself fall for him. He does not have any rights over me. He doesn't deserve me." Lucas let out a chuckle in response to her words. He distanced himself from her. "Then who do you deserve?" "Me." Elora blushed and lowered her head. She knew he was teasing her. She believed no woman in the world deserved such a fine man as him. His strength and skill were unparalleled, and no one else could compete with him. She felt a hand patting her head. She raised her head and looked at him. "You all should know that your fates are in my hands. Only I will decide how you all end up." Elora averted her gaze from him. "Yes, Alpha. Go and have some rest. Prepare yourself for tomorrow. Because tomorrow night will be a big night for you." "What will happen?" "You will find out about it in due time." Elora gave a slight nod of the head before entering her room. Lucas's eyes turned back to black. He turned around to go to his room. "Lucas," he heard a voice, which stopped his footsteps. He did not turn but stood there without moving. "Lucas, can we talk, my child?" Ella asked while looking at her son. "No, we can't." He responded and went to his room. He was about to shut his door when her mother stood at the door. "Please, let me come in." Lucas looked at the woman who gave him birth but never cared about him for years. He turned around and went inside without closing the door. Ella entered the room and closed the door. She walked inside and looked around the room. "I heard you exchanged rooms. Why didn't you choose the master bedroom? Or you could have stayed in your old room," Ella said. "Do you have anything else to say other than these?" Lucas asked and sat on the bed. He threw the cigarette butt that had lost its flame. He was about to light another cigarette when his mother stopped him by grabbing his hand. His dark eyes looked at her. She could not help but feel some unknown fear in her son's aura. However, she was his mother. He could not push her away by scaring her. She grabbed the cigarette and threw it on the floor. She did not remove her hand from his and sat on the bed beside him. "Will you now smoke in front of your mother?" she asked softly. He scoffed at her. "Mother? Whose mother? You are no one to me. You are Logan's mother, stop wasting your time here." Saying that, he tried to pull out his hand. But his mother was adamant about letting go of his hand. He did not force it, or else she would get hurt. "Why did you decide to come here?" he inquired while giving him an annoyed expression on his face. "For how much longer are you going to act like this? Lucas, you are not a child any longer. Stop giving speeches. Please let me know. If you have any objections to my staying at your home, I will leave tonight. I have a whole pack to rule. I am not an unemployed person who is currently enjoying a life of leisure. It does not matter how powerful you become or how strong of a pack you control, you will always be my son. You are still my stubborn Lucas to me." Lucas let her talk. He ignored her as if she were invisible. She cupped his cheeks and turned his head toward her. "Lucas, will you punish your mother like this?" Her voice cracked in the middle of the sentence. Her eyes turned glossy, and they shed tears. Lucas stared at her tears. He used to care about his mother, but 2 years ago, he came to the realization that she was just like his father. "You just gave me birth. You never brought me up. During those 8 years when I was on my own, when I was outside the pack, had you ever cared for me?" he let out angrily. She sobbed and replied, "Me and your dad, we never thought bad for you. We only wanted you to be a good man. Nothing else. Whenever your father reprimanded you, he almost always felt bad about it afterward. He never demonstrated it in front of you at any point. However, he was always concerned about you. After you severed all communications with us, he was the one who looked for you among the pack where you used to live. He was worried for you. And when you said you would come back, he was the one who was happier than anyone else. Whenever you wanted to leave, he stopped you by asking you to wait for Logan's coronation because he wanted you to stay here longer. Just like he tried to do a while ago in the dining room." Lucas laughed at her words. After removing her hands from his cheeks, he stood up and walked away. He proceeded towards the window and stopped there before continuing. "Don't make fun of your own husband. The things you are saying do not match his actions at all. Your husband never liked me. He always supported his elder son. From childhood, what I wanted, he gave that to him. That's because he never wanted to make Logan feel that he was adopted. We never wanted him to feel he was cornered. During that process, you seem to have forgotten that you had another child who was the same age as Logan. Every time I came to you, I saw you busy with him. I never had a problem with his adoption. I never had a problem with him either. I had problems with my parents since they were so focused on pleasing their older son that they neglected me throughout my entire existence." Ella stood up and walked to her son. "We are surprised that you have so many achievements in your life. We were unable to recognize the potential that you possessed. But we are happy for you. We have heard about how you won the wars and dominated the packs, and we are proud that you are our son. But please, don't break us. We will never go to claim that you are our son to anyone. But don't break the relationship with us. We are getting old. We can't handle these. Forgive us for our mistakes." Lucas's eyes were fixed on the woods as he stood there staring out the window. Ella rested her hand on her son's shoulder. "Lucas, she was a crying mess. She did not want to lose her son. When he left the pack 2 years ago, she was on the verge of a mental breakdown. But if he decided to leave forever, she would die. Me and your dad don't want anything from you. Your dad regrets every day how he behaved with you all these years. If you had ever told him that you wanted to become a head alpha, he would have considered the separation of this pack into 2. But I never wanted his pack. You two will never understand me. There was never anything I wanted from you. You can't go back in time and give me my childhood back, no matter how much you want to make things right." His words broke Ella's heart. She felt her heart getting slower from the wounds. Lucas turned to her and grinned at her. "Since you took a step forward to talk to your son to clear your heart out, let me alert you, Mom. Get ready for your inevitable demise. I won't let any of you go." "What are you saying? I will go and ask for forgiveness from him? Have you lost your mind, Ella?" Alpha Neil spoke out. "Yes, you will. I can't lose my son." For the first time, he disclosed to me how he felt all these years. "I can't let him go after breaking our relationship. I won't get my son back if he leaves this time." Ella yelled at her husband. She was crying. She did not take Lucas's warning to heart. All she felt was what Lucas had told her about himself. She could not listen to her son's bitter words, so she left his room and came to her husband to convince him. She realized that all of her life she was so busy caring for her elder son that she ignored her other child. She should have cared for them equally. He was a child at that time. If she and Neil had taken care of him properly, his mind would not have been filled with hatred for them. "I won't go to him. He should come to me. I am his father, he is not my father." Ella stared at her arrogant husband. She felt that her son went on with his father. Both of them were egoistic people. "Do whatever you two want. Do me a favor. Just kill me. I can't take all of this mentally anymore. I am tired of my life and broken relationships," Ella said angrily and walked to the door. When she left the room, she saw Alisa standing out of the room. Alisa lowered her head and let her go. Ella wiped her tears and walked away from there. Alisa turned her head and glanced at Ella's back. She could see how painful the situation was for a mother. She came here to talk with Alpha Neil about the wedding. However, the heat of the room was not cool at all. She overheard what Ella was saying to Alpha Neil. "Alisa." Alpha Neil's eyes fell on Alisa when she was staring at Ella's back. Hearing Alpha Neil's voice, Alisa turned around and looked inside the room. "Come here, my child," Alpha Neil said to her. Alisa entered the room and stood in front of him. "I came here to talk, Uncle." "Yeah, you wanted to talk about something." Alisa nodded her head. She was nervous about how she would talk to him. She had been so sure she would tell him everything, but now she was distressed. Alpha Neil thought that Alisa was silent because she heard Ella. He sighed and said, "My child, I know you heard us." Alisa looked at him and said, "I didn't want to. It's just that I came here to talk to you. What are your thoughts about it?" Alisa did not know what she should reply. She averted his gaze and replied, "I think he needs his parents. He is really lonely in his life. How can a person stay away from his parents when they are still alive?" Alpha Neil shook his head. "Dear, did I ever tell him to leave? It was always his decision. He always felt jealous of Logan." Alisa did not like it. She raised her head and said, "He never felt jealous of Logan, Uncle. He only wanted his parents to treat him the way they treated Logan. I am sorry, but I think you have misconceptions. You never understood your son." Alpha Neil was taken aback by her remarks. "He is an impolite man. I always tried to make him a polite person by scolding him. He thought I was his enemy." Alisa smiled at him sadly. "Uncle, love can sometimes accomplish what rigid demeanor cannot. You mean I was harsh on him?" He frowned and asked. Alisa felt that she should not be afraid of anyone. She would have to take a stand for Lucas. She did not have to show it to Lucas how she felt for him. But, unbeknownst to him, she could make his father understand the truth. She took a deep breath and replied, "I apologize if you feel I am impolite, but I have always observed you reacting differently with him. Your behavior toward Logan was far better than how you behaved with Lucas." Of course, a boy whose father never took him for a run would believe his father did not love him. Alpha Neil's expression changed. He suddenly remembered Glenn's birthday night. He had witnessed her defend Lucas as he was going to attack him in rage. They appeared to be very close to each other. "How do you know about it? Did he tell you all of these?" he asked. She nodded her head. She looked emotional, which did not go unnoticed by Alpha Neil. Her face was soft and sorrowful for the first time in 2 years. As if she was carrying sorrow in her heart. Otherwise, no one could have read her for all these years. "He did. He shared his pain with me once. But I am upset that you could never understand his pain. He was a child who was raised by his parents yet lived alone. Have you ever considered why he never contacted you? It's because he thought you all didn't like him. You failed to express your feelings for him." She noticed his look. She could see his pain in his eyes. He was, nonetheless, a strict man. He did not want to show his inner feelings to anyone. "I always wanted good for him. He even kept everything about himself hidden from us. You are the one who constantly mocks him for power and ability. He was a formidable alpha, yet he made you believe he was useless. He was used to your behavior. He only showed you how you thought about him." He shifted his gaze away from her. "I'm done talking about him, Alisa. Let's wrap this up. I admire how powerful he has become. I don't want anything from him. If he still thinks we are careless, then let him be. I have nothing to do." Alisa closed her eyes, and tears fell on her cheeks as she could not stop herself. "You are right. You have nothing to do now." She grumbled and turned to leave, but stopped when she heard him again. "I had planned his birthday 2 years ago to extend my hand to him. But what did he do? He insulted me and left the pack without any reason." Alisa recalled that night, which was a nightmare for her. Though it was his birthday, you celebrated Logan's wedding announcement. You could not give him one night to think that his father cared for him. "Do you think I am not a good father?" Alisa was silent for some time, then she wiped her eyes and turned to him. "For Logan, you are the best father in the world, but for Lucas, you are not. You never asked him what he wanted. You never gave him preference in anything." She could see how broken he was looking at that moment after hearing her words. She smiled at him sadly and said, "Maybe you have won many packs in life but you have lost your child." Though Alisa went to talk to Alpha Neil about the wedding, she could not say anything about it. She left the room after talking about Lucas. "I said so many things today. But I could not lie. He needs to know how his son feels," she said to herself. The day passed as she helped officials for the party. Since it would be a grand party, she managed to send invitations to other packs on short notice. Now she was waiting for the decoration. In the meeting room, Logan and his officials were discussing it with her. Alisa could tell Logan was in a bad mood. He was behaving oddly again. For once, she wanted to ask him if he was okay. But then she prevented herself from asking anything. Because her own mood was not okay either. She was sad that Lucas was leaving. She was certain that if he stayed, he would do something to make their lives more difficult. He was capable of doing so. He had the authority to do so. But she still wanted him to stay. He is going to be Elora's husband soon. I can't think about him. I should stop myself. I lost my chance to be with him. Now, when someone is in his life to make him happy, I cannot bother them. I should not. She tried to convince her each second. She decided that after tomorrow's party, she would tell everyone that she did not want to marry Logan. She did not have to talk to Alpha Neil privately, she could say what she wanted in front of everyone. This time, no one could stop her. When it was dinner time, everyone came to have dinner. The whole table was silent. Alisa glanced at Lucas. He did not look at anyone and appeared to be really calm. His parents kept glancing at him, which he clearly ignored. I want to sleep. I don't have an appetite, Lucas. Elora spoke out and stood up from her chair. Everyone turned their attention to her. Lucas looked at her and said, "Sit." "But I sit down, Elora," he said calmly. Elora reclined back in her chair, lowering her head. Since Lucas had stopped Elora, everyone had been waiting for him to say anything. "What makes you lose your appetite? Do you need the pack doctor to check on you?" he asked while slicing the steak. "No, I am fine. It's just that we are leaving tomorrow, so I think I need to prepare myself. After tomorrow, I will have to follow the rules of our back as a Luna." Lucas gave her a nod and pulled her half-empty plate toward him. She had not eaten anything. He placed the pieces of steak on her plate that he had cut a minute ago. Everyone was taken aback by his delicate motion toward Elora. Alisa stared at Lucas. She could not lie and say that she did not feel envy. She recalled that 2 years ago, Lucas used to take care of her like that. "Eat. You need to eat well. Otherwise, how will you become a fit Luna?" Lucas said to Elora. Elora looked surprised. She immediately nodded her head and smiled at him. "Thanks, Alpha. I will." Alisa averted her gaze from them. Her eyes fell on her lap. Beside her was sitting Logan. She noticed his hands balling into fists. She looked at his face and saw him glaring at Lucas and Elora. "What happened to you?" she asked him in a hushed tone. She did not want to disturb others. Logan shifted his gaze away from them and calmed his expression. He shook his head and replied, "Nothing." Alisa felt that Logan was hiding something. Why did his calm nature suddenly turn aggressive in a few days? He always looked hopeless. What's wrong with him? She thought. After dinner, Alisa wanted to go back home. But Logan stopped her and said that he needed to discuss the theme of the party. So he needed her help. Alisa gave them many ideas. "Except for club parties, we can arrange any theme," she said to others. "What about masquerade?" Wade asked. "No, after many years, people will get to see Alpha of the Black Moon Pack. We cannot hide his face," Alisa said. "She is right." Logan agreed with her. "Why don't you two go and talk to him?" "Because it's his party." One of Logan's officials spoke out. Alisa did not say anything. She did not want to go and talk to Lucas about anything. He did not like her. It would only destroy his mood. Logan glanced at Alisa and shook his head in disagreement. "No one will have to go. Call him down for a meeting," Logan said. His officials called a maid and ordered her to call Lucas. When the maid returned, she informed that Alpha Lucas was busy with his Luna. He refused to attend any meetings. "What did he say?" "Go and tell him that it's about his party," Logan told the maid with a furious face. It was kind of disrespectful. He refused to come for a meeting. Alisa did not feel good when she heard that Lucas was in his room with Elora. In a minute, the maid came back and said, "Alpha, He called you in his room. He said, if you want to have a conversation, you can go to him and talk. Logan clenched his jaw and glared at the maid. You can leave now. Alisa told the maid. She nodded and left in fear. Logan, you. Before Alisa could complete her sentence, Logan got on his feet and headed to the staircase. Alisa stood up and followed him. She could see he was infuriated. She did not want the two brothers fighting on the last day. It's already night. At this late hour, what are they so busy about? He muttered and strode to Lucas's room. Alisa thought they were talking about their pack. So she grabbed Logan's arm and said, they are leaving tomorrow. Maybe they are discussing something. Don't argue with your brother now. Logan stopped in front of Lucas's room. Alisa stood next to him. However, Logan twisted the lock without knocking on the door. The moment he opened it, they saw something that stunned both of them. Lucas was smoking while sitting on the couch. Meanwhile, Elora was hugging him intently. Her nightgown looked messy. They looked intimate. Alisa almost took a step back when she noticed Lucas's hand snaking around Elora's waist. Alisa experienced a sharp pain in her chest. She was unable to see that Lucas was holding another woman at the time. She had the intention of leaving the pack house at this very moment, but she forgot that her hand was still holding Logan's arm. Logan yanked her hand away from the hold she had on him and sprinted over to the two people who were seated on the couch. Alisa was taken aback and immediately began to chase after him. Logan seized Elora by the arm and yelled, "What a shameless woman you are!" Alisa's eyes widened. She stared at Logan. She was completely unaware of what had transpired with him. Elora gave Logan a frowning look while she gazed at the hand that was on her arm. Logan's grip tightened as he saw her careless attitude. "Who gave you the right to call my woman shameless?" Lucas let out that while glaring at Logan. Alisa cast her gaze in his direction. Her attention turned to the hand that was still around Elora's waist being held by him. Elora snatched her arm away from Logan's grip. "How dare you?" she said while scowling at him. Lucas rolled his eyes and said, "Now what? You wanted me to take off my shirt to hide your body." His words were directed to Elora. She lowered her head to see her nightgown. Her cleavage was visible. Almost immediately, she adjusted the inside camisole and then proceeded to knot the upper robe tightly. Alisa's eyes were fixed on Lucas. She felt that Lucas was feeling jealous that Logan saw Elora like that. "I thought your wedding had not been fixed yet. But here you two are having a great time in the bedroom." "Very nice," Logan said to Lucas. He looked at him with a frown. "Didn't your Luna decide on a master bedroom for me and my Luna? I thought you all were very open-minded. Then why is it a problem for you if I share the bedroom with her now? I can do whatever with her, whenever and wherever I want," Lucas said. Alisa remembered that she had really selected one bedroom for the couple. But then Lucas switched rooms and decided to stay alone. "What's your problem with it, Logan? They are a couple. They can share a bedroom," Alisa said and turned to Logan. "He should not have called us into his room then. We are not interested in their nightlife," Logan roared. Lucas smashed the cigarette butt in the ashtray and said, "Alpha Logan is a very well-mannered man. I suppose he is starting to lose the manners that his ideal father taught him. People should knock on the door first. Where is your etiquette, Alpha Logan?" Logan glared at Lucas without replying. Alisa could not understand why Logan was so angry at them. It should be her. She should feel upset, not him. "We came to discuss the theme," Alisa said to Lucas and tried to regulate the situation. "Whatever theme my Luna wants." Lucas responded and looked at Alisa. His piercing eyes revealed no sign of emotion in any way. She was able to recall every word that he had told her last night. She looked away and nodded her head. "What do you want, Elora?" she asked Elora. "For now, I want this man to leave my alpha's bedroom," Elora said and signaled Alisa towards Logan. Alisa was astonished by her words. "Excuse me? He is the head alpha of this pack. You are not allowed to speak to him in that manner. You can't be impolite to us simply because we are courteous with all of you, it's not acceptable." Alisa made an attempt to speak for Logan, who was staring at Elora as though she were the most dangerous adversary he had ever faced in his life. "Then teach your alpha to learn something. How can he touch another man's woman? Or is he planning to get killed by me?" Lucas warned her. "We are not here to argue. We just want to ask about the party theme." "Black and white," Elora let out. "She didn't ask for a dress code," Logan said while piercing his sharp eyes at her. "I didn't talk about dress code either. We want a black and white theme. It is impossible for everything to be black, so why not just mix some white into it?" Elora explained to Alisa, totally ignoring Logan. "Okay, thanks for your cooperation. We are leaving now. Have a good night," she replied. She could feel Lucas's gaze on her. There was no point in looking at him at this point. She took Logan along with her by holding his arm and pulling him. "Let's go. Let the couple enjoy their night." Alisa said it loudly to make it audible. On the other hand, she was completely unaware of the fact that it roused Logan's wrath. After escorting Logan out of the room, Alisa loosened her grip on his arm and questioned, "What exactly is going on between you and Elora? Why did you behave like that inside the room?" Logan's eyes turned red, which surprised her. He shook his head and said, "Right now, I really need to go for a run. Go back home. My driver will drive you safely." Saying that he left from there. Alisa glanced at the door, which she closed behind her the moment she came out of the room. Her heart was shuddering, thinking about Lucas with another woman. She did not want to think about what they were doing inside. She tried to control her tears and left the pack house as quickly as she could. Meanwhile, in the bedroom, Elora was pacing back and forth. Lucas lit up another cigarette while maintaining his focus on her. "Feeling bad for your lover?" he asked. "He is not my lover," she replied and continued walking. She was trying to exert control over her wolf, which was showing signs of distress for the sake of her mate. "Oh, yes. He is her lover. A cowardly couple, a man and a woman who are both cowards. The perfect match," he mocked Alisa in his statement. Elora halted her movement and turned her attention to him. "You were well aware that they would be able to see us. Because of this, you let me hug you. My hybrid can't be naive. I knew it. Lucas, let's leave tonight. We don't need to wait another night. I am not feeling well," Elora requested. Lucas observed her face. She was on the edge of breaking down into tears. "Come here." She slowly stepped towards him and stood in front of him. "I am really impressed with you. You made him fall for you in a few days. Indeed, mate bond is a really nasty thing," he muttered with hostility in his tone. He was looking at the closed door while talking. "But then again, you are my hybrid. You will do as I wish, won't you?" She gulped while listening to him. "What do you want me to do?" He turned to her and replied, "Reject him." She shook her head in disbelief. "No, I can't. He is an alpha. How can anyone reject an alpha? He smirked at her. Whose blood is running in your body, dear? Her eyes widened. Her knees trembled after hearing that. She fell to her knees as tears rolled down from her eyes unexpectedly. She sobbed and let out, "He will die." The whole pack house was busy with decorations and arrangements just as Alpha Neil said it would be a grand party. Every other alpha from different packs would attend the party. So the arrangements should be the best. Logan returned to the pack house in the early hours. He ran the whole night in the forest to ease his anger. He was a dominant alpha. His wolf did not like it when he saw that their mate was getting close to another man. Last night, Logan's wolf was on the verge of taking control over him. But he somehow controlled himself and went for a run. "Where were you, Logan?" Ella asked him as she noticed him coming inside the pack house. "Mom, you woke up at this hour?" He asked her and composed himself so that his mother would not understand his mood. Ella walked toward him and stroked his hair. "Why do you look so gloomy and tired? You were outside the whole night." "Yeah, Mom. I just wanted to run for some time," he replied and looked away from her gaze. "Did you have a fight with Alisa?" He shook his head and replied, "No, Mom. I am sleepy. I will talk to you later." Logan headed to the stairs without letting his mother ask another question. He did not want to lie. When he was heading to his room, he stopped and turned his head to the opposite hallway. Unexpectedly, his legs started to step that way. He stopped in front of a door and lifted his hand. He was about to knock on the door, but before that, he heard the sound of another door closing. He turned his head and saw Elora coming out of Lucas's room. He felt rage bubbling inside him. His jaw clenched, and his fists tightened. Elora paused as she noticed Logan standing close to her bedroom door. She was in Lucas's room all night. He was not in his bedroom. He had left his room half an hour after Logan and Alisa left. She did not feel good, so she stayed in the empty room and had no idea when she fell asleep. But when her eyes opened, she came out of the room with the thought that Lucas would not like her to stay in his room for long. "What are you doing in front of my bedroom?" she asked Logan and started to walk again. "So you were sleeping with him?" he muttered. Anger was swayed in his tone. Elora rolled her eyes and stood beside him. "I don't need to tell you with whom I sleep at night." She reached for the doorknob and twisted it. She entered her room and tried to close it. But a hand grabbed the door and stopped her from closing it. "What are you doing?" Elora let out a low scream. He pushed the door with his hand and entered the room. It startled her, and she stepped back. His eyes were grimacing at her as he closed the door behind him. Elora attempted to grab the doorknob to open it, but he grabbed her arm and slammed her back against the door. She looked at him with wide eyes. "What's wrong with you?" Logan came close to her and placed his elbows on the door beside her head to cage her between his arms. Elora could see his weary eyes. He looked exhausted. She averted her eyes and said, "How dare you push me like this?" If Lucas knows, he placed his finger on her lips to halt her from saying any further. She froze because of his touch and the closeness between them. "How could you do that when you have your own mate? Didn't your wolf feel anything?" he asked with his furious eyes, expecting answers from her expressions. Her face grew calm as she sighed. She did not speak because his finger was on her lips. His eyes shifted from hers and fell on her lips. His fingers slightly caressed her lips. She pushed him immediately and said, "Don't touch me. I am no one to you." He grabbed her arms and once again pressed her against the door. "Why are you after him? He can't make you happy." She chuckled as if mocking him. Really? Then who can make me happy? Do you have any options for me? Did you leave any options? Because you are busy making your ex-mate happy. Logan's grip tightened on her arms. She glared at him. If you love her so much, why don't you just mark her as quickly as you can? Why are you even waiting for a month? You are so eager to see my mark on her neck. Aren't you? Logan asked with gritted teeth. Of course. When you mark her, maybe Lucas can be fully mine. Otherwise, she will always roam around him. You know how much I love Lucas. I dare you to call his name another time. I will kill you. He warned as his eyes turned red. She did not feel any fear in her heart. Because she was a powerful witch. Her eyes also changed color. Seeing her glowing emerald eyes, Logan felt a pain in his chest. His hand moved to her cheek and said, "Don't go, Elora." She balled her fists to prevent herself. Her wolf was howling to embrace this man. How long have they known each other? Only 1 week. But why was this mate bond feeling like that? It felt like she had known Logan for a long time. It felt like she would die if she did not accept him and let him move on with another woman. Why? So that I can see my mate marrying another woman. She let out. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Seeing his reaction, she laughed at him. She patted his arms and said, "Alpha Logan, you are a cowardly man. You never dared accept your fate and always tried to hide from reality. Is this what you call a dominant alpha? Is killing in the war the only thing that makes anyone a good alpha?" Logan rested his head on her neck and mumbled, "Even if I want, I can't let her go." He paused and smelled her scent from her neck by inhaling. Her fingernails almost pierced muscles through his shirt, and he began to feel burned there. He groaned when she pushed him. She opened the door and said, "Leave my room. I am leaving your pack tonight anyway." He stared at her for a moment, then said, "I won't let you go." "Really? How? By telling others that I am your mate? What about the woman that you have been caging for years? What about your brother? Will he let you do that?" He glared at her and said, "He knows everything, doesn't he? He is just taking revenge on me. He knew about us, but still he slept shut up." She yelled at him, which took him aback. "If you dare to talk about him once again, I will show you what a hybrid's power is. Your alpha self will lose in front of it. Everything you said was about him. Do you know what reality is? He is far better than you." It didn't suit him, so he parted his lips. However, she stepped toward him and pointed her finger at his chest. "You are a sinner. You broke his heart in childhood. Because of you, his parents never treated him well. You are his big brother, right? Then why didn't you show him the love that other brothers show for their siblings? Do you know why? Because you were insecure inside your heart. You always wanted his things. You rejected Alisa, but when you saw that Lucas was after her, you realized that you had lost something to him. Now, when you see Lucas has another woman, you want that too." Logan's eyes widened. Her words pierced his heart. He frowned at her. "I never thought like that." She scoffed at him. "Yeah, sure. He is the only evil in the world, and you are a saint. You always wanted good for everyone. But what about your brother? Have you thought about it ever? Don't hide his mistakes. Alisa was my mate at first, and you are my mate now. Both of you are related to me. So he is the one who crossed my fate. I am the alpha who did not kill him after seeing you in his bedroom. Who knows what he has done with you? A slap echoed throughout the room. Elora slapped him. He never touched me for once. It was me who was always after him. I tried hard to attract him, but he never spent a single night with me. It's not only because he had another woman in his heart but also because he was not as treacherous as you. You knew he loved her, but you still managed for your father to not your tie with her. But he never used me once. Because he was loyal to his brother in his heart. He knew I was his brother's mate. He gave me his name, and he secured me with him. He never let other men disrespect me. He always reminded me of who I am. He never tried to be a disloyal person like you, Alpha Logan. He can play a villain in everyone's life, but in my eyes, no matter what, he will always be my hero. Her words caught Logan off guard. Elora could see his cloudy eyes. But she could not read them. Logan did not say anything to her in reply. In fact, he turned around and left her room. Alisa combed her hair as she stared at herself in the mirror. Ella sent her a gorgeous gown for tonight. It was a stunning red gown embellished with white stones and gleaming pearls. She did not appear to be a common young woman but rather a noble lady who had become mature enough to gracefully carry herself. She then looked at the setting she had chosen for her hair while laying the comb down on the dressing table. She had two braids coming down from the upper two sides and joining in the middle of her head. Her hair was down. She got to her feet and slipped on her red high heels. She gave herself one more look in the mirror before saying, "Tonight, everything will be changed. He will leave the pack tonight. I will call off the wedding tonight as well." She emerged from her bedroom and made her way downstairs. She looked up to see her mother and father standing at the door. After walking up to them, she announced, "I am ready." Her father gave her a glance and then said, "I think it would be best if we talked first. Last night, you said you were not available to talk. Today, you locked yourself in your room the whole day. Now you have to talk with us." Alisa stepped aside to cross her father's path and stepped out of the house. "I will talk to you after the party," she said and walked to her father's car, which was waiting for them to come. When she got closer, the driver got out of the car. It was a helpful gesture on his part to open the door for her. Following her expression of gratitude, she got inside the vehicle. After locking the door to the house, Glenn and Joey got into their car. "Alisa, your mom told me what was on your mind. Don't do anything stupid," Glenn warned her. Alisa leaned her back against the rear seat and maintained her composure. She knew talking with her parents would never help her. They would only blackmail her in the name of their relationship. "Your dad is saying something to you," Joey said to her. She was sitting right next to her. "Please, start the car." Alisa spoke in a high tone so that she could be heard by the driver. The driver started the car immediately. "Alisa," Glenn said again. "Yes, Dad?" she asked and looked at him, who was sitting in the front seat beside the driver but turned to her so that he could face her. "You will not do anything stupid. How can you think about breaking everything when there's only a few weeks left for your wedding?" "I can do that." She smiled at him. He gave her a hostile look. "Don't bring disgrace on me in front of Alpha Neil. You are going to marry the head alpha. Logan is not a simple man that his wedding can be broken anytime. What will people say? It will destroy our whole pack's reputation. And if I stay here, that will destroy my whole life. You are a Luna. You can't think of yourself over your pack. Sometimes I wonder, Dad. Am I really your own child?" "Alisa!" Joey shouted and grabbed her arm. "Stop talking nonsense. You can't talk to your father like this. We didn't bring you up for this day. Alisa slowly removed her mother's hand from her arm and replied, I don't want to be impolite with you either. You will not have to feel like this anymore. Because I am leaving soon. Leave? Glenn asked with a stunned face. Yeah, I will break the wedding tonight. Not in front of everyone, of course. I can't see them feeling embarrassed. After the party, I will explain everything to others. I am an adult. I know what is good or bad for me. I can't live like this. If you will let me choose once again, I will choose myself this time. Her father stared at her. She could feel her mother's gaze on her, too. Unexpectedly, they did not say anything and turned away from her. The driver was silent the whole ride. He was a loyal man to Glenn. So they did not bother to think that he would listen to everything. The car reached the pack house. The pack house's exterior decorations were the first thing that welcomed them. The lights that were shining outside the pack house brightened her eyes. So many cars were waiting in line in front of their cars to let the guests down on the red carpet. She noticed many young ladies came with heavy gowns and gorgeous makeup. She understood that they were the other head alpha's daughters. When their car stopped in front of the entrance of the pack house, Alisa got down with her parents. She walked the red carpet gracefully. Others around her were looking at her in awe. They knew who she was. The soon-to-be Luna of this pack. Alisa entered the pack house and saw many guests. So many different faces came to attend the party tonight who might never have come to any other party before. It was clear that each and every one came to meet the head alpha of the Black Moon pack. Alisa, my dear. Ella spoke out from a little distance. She ignored others' gazes on her and directly headed to Ella. She hugged her and noticed Ella's dress. It was almost the same design as hers, but in white. She was surprised by it. I selected 3 dresses. One for me and the other 2 for my 2 beautiful daughters-in-law. Alisa was amazed by her statement. But she felt bad that she would have to break Ella's heart tonight. I can't explain how gorgeous you look. You are looking like a queen. Ella said with delight in her eyes, indicating that she was not lying but saying it truthfully. Thanks, Aunt. Alisa said and hugged her. After breaking the hug, her eyes fell behind Ella. Ella's eyes followed her gaze. Everyone also turned their heads as the main characters came to join the party. Lucas was coming down with Elora. Alisa looked at Lucas, who was in a black suit, which was his color as always. But her eyes shifted to Elora, who was wearing the same dress as her but in black color. Ella smiled at them and said to Alisa, I chose you 2 girls' dresses with my 2 sons' favorite colors. Alisa could not pay attention to Ella since she was lost looking at the couple in front of her eyes. However, Ella's statement caught her mind. My sons are your fates. I know my sons. They are different from each other. But one thing is for sure. They will never let go of their beloved woman. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.